Good afternoon and welcome to the July 16th meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority, being called to order at 3:01 p.m. May we have roll call, please?
Yes, authority members Ajinian,
Present.
Asatrian,
Here.
Divine,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian,
Here.
Chair Brotman.
Here. Thank you. And could you please read off the items for today?
Yes. The report of city clerk, the agenda for August 16, 2022 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on August 11th, 2022 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Okay,
The
and
next-
what's our next item?
Is the approval of minutes of the regular Housing Authority meeting of July 19th, 2022.
I'll move the minutes.
Second?
Second.
Second, okay. Seeing no objections, do we need a roll call or can we just? We typically do a roll call for minutes, don't we? Okay, let's have a roll call then.
Okay. Authority member Ajinian,
Here.
Asatrian,
Yes, you mean.
Divine,
Oh, yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian,
Yes.
Chair Brotman.
Yes. Okay, and what's next?
We don't have any oral communications today.
Okay, does anybody, any housing authority members have any comments? Mayor Kasakian, please.
There was an article in the LA Times in which Glendale was referenced, and I think it was somewhat of a misrepresentation, or the sample that they used to derive their facts, I think was not one that's accurate, that stated that Glendale is among the highest in the country for rents. And a couple of news stations have inquired about this already. I thought it was kind of ironic and coincidental that we had this article come out on the same day that we were all at the groundbreaking of our newest affordable housing project just down the street, and with more to come. So I'd like to ask staff, I asked the city manager and staff to answer some of the issues that were raised in that article, if that's all right with you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Most definitely. Chair Brotman, members of the Housing Authority, I'm going to invite Peter Zovak, Assistant Director of Community Development, who has done some research and obviously read the article, and he can provide some additional explanation of what went into that article as falsely as it was presented.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Housing Authority. Staff did take a look at that article as well. In our initial impressions that we do agree that it was very surprising to hear. And as we began to do a very cursory look at some of their data, we felt it was also misleading. One of the biggest concerns that we had with the article is that it was based on data provided only by one rental company website, rent.com. There are a number of websites, dozens of websites out there that both landlords and tenants use to be able to rent units. And this only was using the data in one of those companies, rent.com. It only took a look at 1 and 2 bedroom units. It took a look at units from June of 2021 and then compared it to June of 2022. What we did is we very quickly took a look at some of those other websites that provide listings as well. And what we found in those looks at other websites is that a much different number than what rent.com had come up with. We see numbers that tend to be in the upper 2,000s, nothing exceeding 3,000, placing Glendale in a much lower category. And so again, we don't know how they came up with that information. Once you do go to that report, it's very slim on the details. But if you were to use some of the other websites out there, you'll see a much different number than what they've provided. And I think that the article also, in its discussion about Glendale being the fourth largest, or fourth most expensive city in the United States, they spoke nothing of all of the efforts that the City Council and Housing Authority has taken with regards to affordability, both projects and programs. As you said, the article comes out in a day that we celebrated a groundbreaking of our newest affordable housing projects. I've tried to get the LA Times to do an article on the accomplishments of the Glendale Housing Authority probably for the last 3 years. And I think it's very telling, and they haven't been able to do one. They've refused to do a feel-good story. But obviously, they will take a story that they feel is critical of someone or something and run with it. I don't need to remind you, but for the audience, you've most recently purchased two properties that have resulted in over 500 new affordable housing units that have been built. You've also dedicated Measure S money to start a low-income student rental assistance program, a low-income family rental assistance program, LICERAP, and you've also committed to funding one of the first cities to fund a basic income program, monthly housing subsidy program. You've also taken a number of market rate units out of the market rate area and placed them in now workforce housing, over 1,000 units of that. I've tried to get the LA Times to do an article on those accomplishments, all within the last 2.5 years during a pandemic. And as I said, nothing on a lot of the good work that's being done here. And unfortunately, on some very minimal data, a critical story that I don't think is really accurate. Some of the other things that we found out when we looked at the rent.com is that a lot of their listings are the newer properties that are in town, and some of them even the luxury high-end units that are along Brand and Central. And so we think that skews the numbers as well.
Thank you. And I just want to say that, we all know that Glendale is a wonderful place to live in, to work in, to send your children to school in. It is, we have great public schools, a lot, and we're close to everything. So it's not a surprise that demand will be high in Glendale. But to say that Glendale is at one end of the spectrum when we know that's not the case, and anyone who lives and works here knows that's not the case. Are rents going up? Absolutely. This is a regional problem. It has been persisting, but we have done more than our share, I think, to try, or we are doing our share, and we continue to try and do more to ensure that we have a variety of housing stock for everyone who lives in Glendale. Are we perfect? Certainly not, but certainly I would like people who are reading the article who see that it's printed or published in the LA Times and think that it must be absolutely true to understand the facts on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Devine?
Yes, I just like to ask staff can you contact the Glendale News Press and either write a letter or arrange an interview so that at least the people that are residents that read that newspaper will hear the truth and find out about all of the projects that we've done. I mean, these are the people that really matter to this council, I think, and maybe even on our social media platforms, put out some information to refute this article so that we're not questioned and kind of put down, being so expensive for everyone and not people realizing what we're doing for affordability in our city, for the residents that really need help.
Yes, Councilmember Satrian.
Do we actually have data of where we stand as a city when it comes to our rates?
Councilmember Satri, no, we do not. We do not have a centralized database or a rent registry that is required of landlords to register their rents. It's been a discussion before the City Council in the past. There's been no direction to go that route. So we are kind of doing what many people would do. We would look at numerous listing sites, trying to determine aggregate of what rents are going for. We will look at some information that we have, census data, although census data tends to be a little bit old and lag behind the market rates. But we will look at that. We'll look at some of our Section 8 rental units as well and try and come up with more accurate information. But it's very difficult to be very accurate and capture today's rent as of right now with the lack of some of the tools that are out there.
Is there like an estimated rank that we're aware of?
We've
And I don't-
always, from all the times that we've been presenting reports to council and we tried to present fresh information, we always found ourselves to be in between both Burbank and Pasadena with our rents. Slightly above the county, slightly behind City of LA, and then we've always found ourselves to be somewhere in between Pasadena and Burbank.
Thank you.
And Mayor Kasakian, did you have a Follow-up comment?
Yeah, only to say that the issue, for me, the concern isn't necessarily just, pounding or thumping our chests or patting ourselves on the back. We know the work that we're doing. My concern with an article like this is that it could, make some landlords believe that, their rents may be too low, and the impact that could have on individuals who are trying to find apartments and housing here in Glendale. It's just, they say never pick fight with anyone who buys ink by the barrel, but I do want to say that this LA Times reporter could have certainly done a better job of doing their homework before putting information like this out there, which could truly impact people's lives. I hope that they exercise more caution and do more due diligence before making such claims.
Who was
Thank
Mark Twain?
It was Mark Twain.
Good. And not to make this into a full-blown discussion, but, seeing an article like that is always a little irksome when we know how hard we're working, or we know how hard staff is working in particular, and we know how much of the money, from our coffers, Measure S and elsewhere, is going into affordable housing. On the other hand, I mean, I don't mind that much getting a finger pointed at us, because we do know it is a serious problem. We can't underestimate it. The rent is too damn high, and the whole region isn't doing as much as it needs to do to build more housing, both affordable and market rate, for that matter. We need both. I think we just move on and we do the good work we're doing, and encourage our neighbors to do the same, and hopefully we see some progress. But it is tough out there. Yeah, Councilmember Devine.
Yes, I just want to say, I don't want this to dampen the glorious morning that we had at Harrow Village. Staff has worked very hard to use adaptive reuse for the Tobin World building with Abode. It's going to be a marvelous senior living complex, and we were very proud. I heard nothing but compliments about staff this morning, how great it was to work with all of you, and how they have, Abode has worked with other cities, but nothing like Glendale. And so you made me really proud, and I thank you all, and I look forward to when we can cut that ribbon. So, wonderful.
Yeah, any other comments? Any of the?
I'll do that.
Clap. And staff? Are we good? Okay, then, if that's the case, I will take a motion to adjourn. Is that right?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We're adjourned at 3:15 p.m.
All right. Wait until we transition into the council meeting. There we are. There's a banner. Let us call the city council meeting to order. May we have roll call, please?
Yes. Council members Asatrian,
Here?
Brotman,
Here.
Divine,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Mayor Kasakian.
Here. May we please have the closed session items read into the record?
Yes. Closed session item, public employee appointment, fire chief.
All right. Do you anticipate reporting out on this, Mr. City
I
Attorney?
do not anticipate reporting out, Mr. Mayor.
All right. With that, we will recess to closed session. Thank you.